Well, greetings and salutations, everybody. Welcome to the best damn movie-related show on the planet Earth. Coming from right here in our quaint little studio. I am, of course, your host, John Campea, and this is the John Campea Show, where we talk about our favorite things in the world, the things that give us joy. Movies and movie news, TV and streaming and all that good stuff. I'm joined in this wild orgy of joy by our technical producer, Jonathan Boyko.
What is, was there something I'm missing in this
Yeah,
garage?
I'm like, there's three dudes here, John.
Hello?
Writer, director, producer, Robert Meyer Burnett.
I'll go with that. You know, pleasure, take pleasure where you can get it, right?
And most importantly, of course, you guys are here. Thank you so much for being here, making our little show part of your day. And here's how the show's going to go. We're going to start off by talking about a few predetermined topics we got lined up for you guys. And in the second part of the show is when we take your live comments and questions. Now, we've changed things up. We are no longer taking comments and questions via the tip link. We've decided we're going to experiment for a while, only taking questions via Super Chat. Now, there's a couple of reasons we're doing that. Two main ones. One is that, we've had some people comment that, if we took questions via Super Chat, we're getting questions that are more timely to the show that day. That's a good point. But the other thing is, I had it suggested to me that YouTube favors live streams that actually have Super Chats enabled. So we thought we would try that out for a bit. But listen, for any of you guys who have sent in questions to the tip link in the last couple of days and over the weekend, don't worry about it. I'm going to do an open mic in the next few days, and I'm going to answer all those questions that got sent in there. So don't worry. If you sent one in there, it is going to get answered 100%. All right, guys. With that down, I've got a little piece of housekeeping here to let you guys know about, which is, of course, we're about to start the next leg of the movie meetups, and they are going to be in the following cities. On Tuesday, December the 19th, I'm going to be in Dallas, Texas. Actually, you know what? I'm going to be there on the 17th for a screening of Wicked for Good, but I'm staying for the 18th for the movie meetup. Tuesday, November the 18th, I'm going to be at the Cinemark Dallas XD and IMAX for the movie The Running Man at the 6:55 screening. Then the following day, I'm going to be in Austin, Texas on Wednesday, November the 19th at the Galaxy Theater Austin for a 7:20 screening of the new movie Now You See Me, Now You Don't. And then on Monday, November the 24th, we're going to be in Orlando, Florida at the AMC Disney Springs for the movie Wicked for Good at 6:30 p.m. Now, the way the movie meetups work is really simple. If you want to come to a movie with us, just go to the movie theater's website, buy a ticket for that screening, and I'll be there watching the movie too, as well as a bunch of other fellow movie-loving fans. And then after the movie's done, I'll just hang out in front of the theater for like an hour or so, meet people, take pictures, all that kind of stuff. And if you want to come, go ahead and buy a ticket to it, and I'll hope to see you guys there. All right, guys. That all down, let's get to our topics here, shall we? We're going to start off with this. I don't think it's an exaggeration to say that the number one fan casting out there for the new DC Batman is probably Reacher star Alan Ritchson. Mm-hmm. Now, Alan Ritchson let people know a little while ago that, hey, look, I'm not going to be the new Batman, but you just might see me in the new DCU anyway. Well, now, according to headlines like this one, Alan Ritchson has confirmed he is now in talks with DC to appear in the new DCU, but in what he is calling a Messier role. The folks at Geek Tyrant wrote this. This is a quote from Alan Ritchson saying, yeah, that's the conversation that I've been having with them. That's DC and James Gunn. Is like, I want to play somebody a little messier. And I told them, I said, if I'm going to do this, I described to them the kind of personality that I want to play and what that would mean to their world. And I think it's something everybody wants to see right now over there. So yes, I want to play somebody a little dirtier than your typical clean-cut protagonists. All right, so a couple things we take away from this. Number one, it does kind of sound at this point like it's a foregone conclusion that we're going to see Alan Ritchson in the DCU, which is great. I think he's a wonderful candidate to pop up in there, depending if you match him up with the right kind of character. Now, it doesn't sound like it's going to be the Batman, which is what a lot of us kind of thought he'd be a really good fit for, but there's a lot of other good roles for him. But Rob, he's saying he wants a messier character. Not your typical protagonist. He wants a little dirtier, a little messier. Some people speculating that could mean he's saying, I want to play a bad guy. Like I'm playing all these good guys. I want to play a bad guy. I want to get nasty, or maybe, you know, what they call the anti-hero
Right.
these days, whatever. What stands out to you when you hear Alan Ritchson say this? And you got any thoughts or theories about who a guy like him could play?
Well, I mean, this is kind of out of left field, but Orion from the New Gods, who's powerful,
Yeah.
and I like that. People talk about, I mean, look, dude, look at it. This guy's a monster. You know, I don't think he's going to play somebody like Deathstroke, because Deathstroke has to be more like a younger Jeremy Irons type.
Ooh.
You know, so I've always I thought that Joe Manganiello was a great.
He would have been a
Great.
fabulous Deathstroke.
He would have been a great, but I always think that Deathstroke needs to be a little bit more cultured, maybe a little European, you know,
Like this in this photo right here.
Yeah.
well, there you go. I mean,
By the way, I like him in that movie.
I love that movie.
Ungentlemanly Warfare. I
Yeah.
thought he was really good in that.
dude, I can't wait to see that babysitter movie that he's playing he's the secret agent babysitting the kid.
What's it called again?
I never remember what it's called, you know.
It's not I can't remember the piece something. It's not Peacemaker, but anyway, yeah, that's actually looking pretty funny.
But when he says Messier, I mean, I'm like, what, like KG Beast? You know, what does that mean? I don't know. I don't know.
Playdate, by the way, was the
Playdate.
name of the movie.
Playdate,
Yeah.
right? I want to see that.
Me too.
I'm a sucker. But yeah, Messier, Swamp Thing's messy.
yeah.
Yeah, like you said, Swamp Thing.
Yeah.
Swamp Thing could be
I
interesting.
mean, because you need a big dude.
Do you though? Because
I mean,
it's
you
all
could have
prosthetics and
Yeah, but I mean,
CG.
he's got the shape of a. He's got to be underneath a suit, but I mean, that's messy. But Swamp Thing isn't an anti-hero. Not really.
Yeah, not really.
I think he means more like in the gray zone of good and bad.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
don't think he means like
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which would fall more
I
under the
mean,
category of an anti-hero.
If you wanted to do something with Hawkman, he'd look good as Hawkman. You know,
Maybe.
but he
Interesting
already
take.
played Hawk of Hawk and Dove
it's true.
in Titans, so that would be a little bit too on the nose. I see some people in the live chat saying Bane, and don't get me wrong,
Yeah.
can you think of a better guy to play Bane? I don't know if he'd want to go
Russell play.
that way, but he would be a great Bane. I mean, I'd give him that too. So, but I think Jonathan's right. I think it's more of the darker anti-hero
Yeah, I do too.
type of
I do
dude.
too.
So, not somebody who would be on the Avengers, in the Justice League per se.
I will say this about him. He must be in a very comfortable place acting wise that he's walked into Warner Brothers and DC and said, look, I'll do this, but I want a messier character, as opposed to like, I'll do whatever you want.
Here's the thing though. There might be an angle. There might be a Vin Diesel angle to this.
Yeah, that's true.
Because remember when Vin Diesel came out, and by the way, everybody knows I am a lifelong member of the Vin Diesel fan club. I love Vin. But you guys remember a little while ago he came out and said, yeah, I had a meeting with Universal and I told them I'll do Fast 11 if we do this, this, and this. And I'm like, Universal told you that's what it was going to be. And maybe like the PR is you together agreed to say it this way. This could be one of those things where like him and James Gunn saying, hey, yeah. Tell people that you want to play a messier character or
Yeah,
whatever.
that's
I mean,
true.
it could be
Angling,
one of those.
little angling.
Little PR work,
Yeah.
stuff like that. Either way, I mean, I think it is still a fascinating thing in here.
Yeah.
With the idea of an Alan Ritchson popping up in the DC universe. So it would be fun to see. Let the speculation begin about who that could be. Ooh, Michael Willis in the live chat just put up a really good one that was talked about months ago. Azrael.
Azrael.
That's good.
Jean Paul. I mean, he would actually be pretty cool. Takes over the mantle after you do a Nightfall series. He takes over the mantle of the Bat, and then Bruce has got to come back and put him in his place.
Ooh.
Woo! I'm getting chills thinking about that. That would be a pretty good one. Anyway, guys, whatever you think about this whole thing, jump down to the comment section below and leave your thoughts there. All right, guys. With that down, let's move on to this, shall we? You know, Francis Ford Coppola, there's no debate, no discussion required. He's one of the GOATs. I mean, he's the man. His legendary and iconic status is forever cemented. Nothing will ever change that. But in the hands of almost anybody else, Megalopolis may have changed that. Not for Francis Ford Coppola, but for many others. It was a film that he decided that I respected an enormous amount to say, you know what? I'm going to spend my own money and I'm going to make this movie. I'm going to put my money where my mouth is. I'm going to bet on myself. And I have huge respect for a guy that does that, especially a guy in the position of a Francis Ford Coppola. And he like sold his winery, his legendary iconic winery and all that kind of stuff, finance and all that kind of everything. Well, two unfortunate things happened. One, Megalopolis completely flopped. Like hard flopped.
It was like that back to back with Horizon, remember?
Yeah. Yeah, because you had Cowboy.
Kevin Costner.
Kevin Costner kind of did the same thing. The second problem was, of course, that Megalopolis deserved to flop. It was a terrible film.
Yeah, it really was not good.
I mean, I heard the bad word of mouth about it and everything, but I'm like, I don't care. It's Francis Ford Coppola. You all just can't comprehend his genius.
It's just ahead of its time.
And then I saw it. I'm like, oh, maybe that wasn't the problem.
Yeah.
It wasn't a good film, but you know, it is what it is. Well, the situation's kind of got real and a little bit darker as reports started coming out that he's been selling off some of his stuff because maybe he's broke. And now, according to this story in the Hollywood Reporter, Francis Ford Coppola has now just sold his Belize Island for $1.8 million on top of one of his prized possession watches that he sold for like $1 million. He's selling off all his stuff and now he's saying he's broke. This comes to us from the Hollywood Reporter that writes the following. After losing millions of dollars from his passion project, Megalopolis, another one of his assets has been sold. This time it's a private island, Belize, that Coppola, 85, frequently vacationed at. The area, called Coral Cay, consists of 2.5 acres. It's 8 miles long, is a 25-minute boat ride from the mainland, and is a self-sufficient island with water tanks and solar panels. For the last 9 years, the Godfather director has leased it. However, it's sold for $1.8 million. This comes after the Oscar winner spent $120 million of his own money to make Megalopolis. Coppola revealed he's broke. I don't have any money because I invested all the money that I borrowed to make Megalopolis, he said. It's basically gone. This kind of shatters my idea of reality a little bit. We're talking about the guy who made The Godfather. We're talking about one of the most legendary filmmakers of all time. We're talking about the guy who hand-groomed George Lucas and made him into the filmmaker that he became over at American Zoetrope. When they got that whole thing going, a lot of people forget George Lucas was a part of that whole movement.
They made THX 1138.
And listen, this is kind of one of the big things when everybody's a world expert, the world's leading expert in how other people should spend their money. And listen, I still give him all the props in the world for being willing to put his money where his mouth is, take his risk. He was passionate about this project and he wanted to get it made. That does not, however, mitigate the fact that you are still putting all your money on the line and it could go badly. And I think for a lot of us, Rob, when a movie flops, we don't really think of it hurting anybody because it's just theoretical money, right? It's some studio somewhere. Oh, it's no big deal. But like this was a situation where it was literally coming from one guy. And the concept to me of Francis Ford Coppola being broke is almost inconceivable. So Rob, with that combined with the Kevin Costner situation, who has not said he's broke, but do you think these projects, Horizon, Megalopolis, are going to serve as cautionary tales for like bigger time filmmakers financing their own films moving forward? Do you think that may put a stop to that sort of thing? Or do you think it's not going to, intimidate future filmmakers from maybe wanting to do that? What do you think?
It's a good question, John. To be fair, these are both hugely expensive projects.
Yeah, Megalopolis was like $120 million.
Yeah, most people, look, there are two unwritten rules that everybody understands in Hollywood. One, if you're a drug dealer, you never get high on your own supply. And the other is you never put your own money into a movie.
Yeah.
Ever. And that's why you get other people to pay for it. Because putting your own money into a film is... you're risking everything. There is no recourse. You can't write it off on your corporate taxes or anything like that. And in the case like 100, I don't think anyone has invested $120 million of their own money. I mean, Costner came close with 2 movies or whatever, but
Yeah.
even that wasn't. I mean, I remember when the Moonies, Reverend Sun Young Moon, they invested in a movie called Inchon, a war movie that was like, I don't know, in the early 80s or something. And it was like $40 million of this cult's money. And I was like, oh my God, no one's ever going to do that again. But to have this kind of money is, but you've got to respect that Coppola followed his dream. And it was all, you know, it just represented all the things that he had made in his life. He had his vineyards, you know, this, all the luxuries that he had in his life. And he put his money where his mouth is. And, you know, at the end of the day, he might not have his cash now, but I bet somewhere in his heart, he's satisfied because he actually achieved something he wanted to achieve. And at the end of the day, we might think it's insane, but that artistic itch, rightly or wrongly, he was able to achieve that dream on his own terms. And a lot of people can't do that in their lives.
That's true.
But that's easy for me to say because I didn't spend $120 million making
Although
it.
one of the things he said in another interview was like, look, my children are all rich.
Yeah.
Therefore I'm fine.
Well,
which is a good way to approach it.
That was another thing too, because we talk about, you know, we really have a lot of respect for him because he put his money on the line. Had he put his family in a position where he had bankrupted them too, I would not have respected
Oh,
it.
yeah, that's different.
Then it would
Yeah,
be
yeah.
totally different.
Yeah.
But he did it on his own, and it didn't affect his family's wealth. I mean, at the end of the day, this man is still going to be well taken care of. I mean, listen, admittedly, times are tough when you have to sell your island. I'm not at that stage yet. I haven't had to sell mine yet, but I can only imagine.
But you know,
I mean, heaven forbid I ever have to sell my island.
Yeah.
That would be terrible.
You know what's interesting though? What people don't understand is the movie business is not where you make a ton of money. Television, you can make a lot more money. Like if you're involved, if you're a TV producer, like Aaron Spelling was a lot richer than most people that work in motion pictures.
Yeah, but Aaron Spelling didn't make one hit
No,
show.
but I mean,
Like, you know.
but the real money you can make is in TV because there's a lot more places to sell it.
Sure.
Whereas the people that have gotten really rich, like Ryan Reynolds, George Clooney, Sammy Hagar, all made significant investments in liquor. And then they were able to sell their liquor brands for a lot of money, way more money than you could ever make on movies or TV shows.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, we know somebody else who did something along those lines.
Yeah, well, I said Ryan Reynolds.
It's liquor and it's real estate. Because
Yeah.
Arnold Schwarzenegger, most of his money comes from, he's a real estate mogul. A
Yeah.
lot of people don't realize the skyscrapers he owns and stuff. And even like someone like Taylor Swift, she actually has a lot of real estate.
Yeah, I mean, these are all people that invested their money wisely. And Coppola had his vineyard and all that, and he had that. $120 million is nothing to shake a stick at. That's some serious.
Well, I mean, listen, he's having now sell. It's not just like he's having to sell his watches. He sold cars. He had to sell his properties. Like, it's a big deal, and it's really kind of sad. Again, it doesn't take away though from me that I still completely respect and admire the fact that he was like, I believe in this project.
Yeah, 100%.
And I might be right and I might be wrong, but I believe in it. And if no one else is going to believe in it, I will, and I'll put my own money behind it. And he rolled the dice. He took a risk. Maybe it didn't work, but I'm always going to respect that he did it.
100%.
Anyway, guys, question is for you. What do you think about this? One of the greatest of all time, Francis Ford Coppola, is kind of saying he's broke. He's having to sell all of his stuff now because he lost all of his money making Megalopolis. Was it a mistake that he did it, or do you still stand behind it and respect the fact that he decided to take that kind of a risk? Whatever you guys think, jump down to the comments section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that down, let's go on to this, shall we? You guys might remember that the first teaser trailer for the Michael Jackson biopic Michael dropped the other day, and it was amazing. It was a perfect first trailer for a musical biopic. I mean, it just hit every note, no pun intended, perfectly. It was really great. It was fantastic. Well, apparently a hell of a lot of people watch it, because like Deadline here saying the Michael teaser traffic racks up 116 million views in the first 24 hours, breaking several records, including the biggest trailer launch ever for the studio of Lionsgate. You think about some of the big iconic titles that Lionsgate has put out, and this has beaten all of them. But even more than that, it set the record for most trailer views for any musical biopic or concert thing. You see at number 5 there, A Complete Unknown got 47 million views in its first 24 hours. Bohemian Rhapsody, which went on to nearly be $1 billion film, had 57.6 million views. Bob Marley One Love had 60.1 million views. The Taylor Swift Eras Tour concert trailer hit 96.1 million. And Michael, a musical biopic, has now the all-time record for, musical biopics, concert videos, whatever, hitting 116 million views in the first 24 hours. To put that into perspective of like outside of music biopics, it competes. Because if we go up and take a look at, like, say, the number 6 through 10 all time, you got Avengers Infinity War at number 6 at 230 million views, Lion King, Thor Love and Thunder at 209, It had 197. But down at number 10, Avengers Infinity War, 179 million. This 116 million for a musical biopic, years delayed, coming in at 116, is not only the biggest for Lionsgate ever, biggest for a musical biopic ever, it holds up and it stands up with some of the biggest trailers ever of all time. Rob, to me, I mean, you can never say that just because a movie trailer gets a lot of views, that automatically means box office success, right? Obviously. For some time, 50 Shades of Grey's trailer was in the top 10 most viewed trailers.
It's still in my top 10. I watch it daily.
The trailer I'm talking about.
Oh, right.
And it never became one of the biggest, but let's look at this list. Like Avengers Infinity War, Lion King, Thor Love and Thunder, It, Avengers Infinity War. If we go up to the top 5, Deadpool and Wolverine, which is still the most viewed trailer ever, Spider-Man No Way Home, Avengers, all of these were huge box office hits, other than Transformers Rise of the Beasts. So that's the one, the Sesame Street game of one of these things is not like the other. So while it doesn't automatically mean anything, Rob, I think this bolsters my belief that I've said on this show for a long time that Michael is going to be $1 billion film. I really believe that. I think it's going to be the highest grossing musical biopic of all time. There's clearly a lot of interest in it. And this was just the teaser. And I think these are remarkable numbers for a musical biopic. Because again, let's take the Eras Tour out of it, and we just look at this just for musical biopics. The next biggest one was almost half of it, with the Bob Marley one with 60 million views in the first 24 hours. This thing's going to be massive. Anyway, Rob, you see these numbers. What's standing out to you the most about this?
Well, first of all, there's something about that trailer. And we talked about how the music was layered and they did all these really... This film looks uncanny in the sense that the cousin of Michael Jackson's or the relative that they have playing him is unbelievable.
Michael's nephew.
His nephew looks incredible. The guy playing Quincy Jones, I want him to do my phone messages. That guy is so great as Quincy Jones. I mean, and the imagery and everything about this trailer, I don't know if it's nostalgia. I don't know if it's the music. I just want to see this. I've never seen a trailer of late that made me think I have to see this movie as much as this Michael. And it's just a teaser. Because, like when you hear the beginning chords of Billie Jean, it's like the beginning of the Rolling Stones' Satisfaction.
Yeah.
You hear and it's like those, because it's been a part of my life for so long, and Michael Jackson was part of my childhood, AABC, like I said before, as a child, before he went solo even, but when he was with the Jackson 5, he's so ingrained in pop culture and in my life growing up that I can't hear Billie Jean, the opening strains, or even Vincent Price's voice without thinking about Thriller, know, and it's almost like this Pavlovian response. It's like, whoop, I can't not want to.
As soon as you hear that bass line, boom, 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 boom,
yeah,
boom, boom, like you're like, okay, I'm in.
Dun, and it's got this. There's a power that, forget all the controversy and whatever, but for so long of my life and so long of Michael Jackson's life, he was such a figure of joy and of excitement. I mean, look, did I listen to Michael Jackson music incessantly? No, I was more of a, I'd rather hear like Christian Death and The Damned and Sisters of Mercy and New Order, but I still loved Michael Jackson. I was more of a gothy guy, but I think that Michael Jackson's music, it's so well produced. It's some of the greatest pop music ever made. So this is such a compelling, joyful story, at least this part of his life. I mean, I know his father pushed him. He's probably going to have But still, I watch this. I'm like, I have to see this. And I think that it's weird because I've watched the trailer multiple times, and when I put it on, I can't. They're like Lay's potato chips. You can never eat just one. You can never watch that trailer just one time. I'll put it on and watch it, and I play it again. And now they've done those cut down bits that are on Instagram that have this scene when Quincy Jones says, "Listen, Michael, you're in the sound booth now. You can't move your feet." And then Michael laughs because he won't dance while they're recording a song. That clip I've seen 100 times on Instagram. And so I'm saturated, man. I'm saturated with this Michael movie. You go, Anton Fuqua. Does that mean you're going to make another Olympus Has Fallen movie? Because I sure hope so. After this, get back to that franchise, son.
All right,
the real
guys.
work begins.
The real work begins. All right, guys, question is for you. What do you think about this? The Michael trailer's broken several records, including the most viewed for a major studio like Lionsgate, most viewed for any musical biopic, almost doubling the record for most viewed for any musical biopic. What do you think it means? Do you think it means anything at all? Are you looking forward to the film? Whatever you guys think, jump down to the comments section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that down, we're going to play a little game of overreaction here today.
Uh-oh.
We love asking you guys to give us your hot takes. And then we take those hot takes and dump buckets of cold water all over it. Right?
Yeah.
Telling you if you're overreacting with your hot take or maybe justifying you and saying you're not overreacting. So let's get into it here. Play a little game of overreaction. Jonathan has collected a bunch of the ones you guys sent in. So
Yes.
Jonathan, what do we got?
All right, Rob. First up, is this an overreaction? We hear from Connor. If Mandalorian and Grogu is not well received, that will severely impact The Last Starfighter.
I think that's an overreaction. I really don't think that one has anything to do with the other, to be honest. I don't... Look, Solo didn't have an effect on... Well, maybe it did. Now that I think about it.
They didn't really. I
don't think so. I think that Star Wars, everything is their own thing. And by the way, I have to tell you, I saw the Mandalorian and Grogu trailer in front of Badlands. It doesn't look good on the big screen.
It does not. It looks like a TV show.
No,
It does. And that last shot of the walker falling off the ridge,
and it's so,
the
okay.
snow looks like sugar.
Well, not just that, the pacing of it. It's like music hits, it explodes. We have to sit there watching it slowly fall, and then it's like end credit, like title card. The pacing on it is too long.
Yeah.
I will say, just to that really quickly, that when I watched it, I agree, but I also feel like Disney is aware it looks like it's a TV show made for the big screen.
Yeah.
And I think they know that audience. I think this movie is literally just put out there for Mando and Grogu fans. I think they know that, and it's not competing for like the Skywalker trilogy numbers.
Let's put it this way. Like Andor, which was made for TV, looked way more cinematic than this trailer for Mandalorian and
Yes.
Grogu does.
Well, the trailer isn't even good. It's just like vignettes of the movie. It's like,
But I will say this. I think this is an overreaction. Look, whenever you put out a bad film in a franchise, will it have an effect on the franchise? Sure. Yeah. If Mandalorian Grogu comes out and totally sucks, will that have some kind of a negative impact on Starfighter? Yes. Do I think it'll have a severe impact on Starfighter? I don't,
Yeah.
because like to Jonathan's point, Mandalorian and Grogu, I feel like people understand this is just a TV show being put up on the screen.
Yeah.
It's really more targeted just for Mandalorian fans. And while I do think it'll have a negative impact if it's terrible, I don't think it'll be a severe impact on it. So I'm going to call it an overreaction.
all right.
All right, what's next?
All right, John, is this an overreaction when we hear from Malte? If Tenet wouldn't have released during the pandemic, it would have made $1 billion or more. Oh,
Severe overreaction. Massive overreaction. For two different reasons. One, the theaters had reopened by the time it came out. Now, granted, it was the early days. Do I think that had an impact? Because I think, what did it end up making? Like 350 million at the box office?
Something like that.
So did it have an impact that it was just when theaters were reopening? Absolutely. I think it definitely would have made more. But it's also Christopher Nolan's least well-received movie, both critically in the 70% and audience score, which is in the 70%. It's his least liked movie. And if he had other movies that aren't making $1 billion that were far more beloved, hell, Oppenheimer, which won Best Picture at the Academy Awards, it didn't make $1 billion. there's no reality in which, I don't care when you released Tenet, it was not going to be $1 billion film under any circumstances. Anyway, Rob, what do you think? I'm calling an overreaction. What do you think?
Total overreaction. I mean, you know what the thing is? I find Tenet fascinating, and I actually watch it a lot. It looks great. The acting is great. I just don't buy it. It doesn't work. And I keep trying to figure out, when does it not work? That opening scene in the orchestra, whatever the hell's great. There's so much great stuff in that movie.
The sound mix in it was legendarily bad, though.
Yeah,
it was like there was no excuse for that.
It was like everyone was Bane.
But yes, only you. I don't like it. I like all of Christopher. C-Note never let me down, but that movie might be the greatest looking, not very good movie I think I've ever seen in the history of Hollywood.
Yeah, and again, if some of his much better, much more well-received, much more beloved films didn't hit $1 billion, I don't think there's any argument to be made that this one would have. All right, what's next?
All right, Rob, is this an overreaction when we hear from Anton Nealon, who says Mahershala Ali will announce his departure from Blade before the end of the year?
I don't think that's necessarily an overreaction. Maybe that's true, but the thing is, the reason I don't think it's an overreaction is I think one day Mahershala Ali will in fact announce his walking away from the Blade franchise, and no one's going to blame him. So I don't think it's an overreaction. By the end of the year, maybe around the time of the Avengers Doomsday trailer, maybe. I don't think it's an overreaction.
I'm going to call it a big overreaction. And here's why. I do believe Mahershala Ali is not going to be Blade.
Right.
And that sucks. I hate that, and I hope I'm wrong. Well, then, John, why are you calling it an overreaction?
Yeah.
Because Marvel ain't going to let that override building up buzz and hype for Spider-Man and Avengers Doomsday.
That's true.
I think we will eventually get an announcement, but it won't be for at least another year. It'll be after Avengers Doomsday comes out. It may already be decided today. Mahershala Ali may already know he's not going to be Blade anymore. Maybe. But they're not going to announce that, and they're not going to make that public. They're going to keep that in the background and not let it overshadow the build up to Avengers Doomsday, which, by the way, has a trailer coming out in like 5.5 weeks. We'll talk about that in a little bit. They're going to wait until after Doomsday already comes out in theaters, because about 3 or 4 weeks after Doomsday hits theaters, there's going to come the press announcement. Oh, hey, listen, due to scheduling conflicts, Mahershala Ali is no longer available to play Blade for us. But it ain't going to be till then, and it ain't going to be within the next 8 weeks by the end of this year. Ain't going to happen this year, so I'm going to call it an overreaction. All right, what's next?
All right, John. Is this an overreaction when we hear from Dingus McNally, who says, after the success of Predator Badlands and new Alien versus Predator movie would make $100 million opening weekend easily?
Wild overreaction. Wild overreaction. And the reason I'm going to say it now, will it be bigger opening weekend than Alien Romulus? Yes. Will it be a bigger opening weekend than Predator Badlands, which just shattered expectations by making $40 million? We're going to talk about that in a minute. But it reminds me of when like Sonic 3 was coming out. And I had people insisting and calling me an idiot because I wouldn't agree that Sonic 3 was going to be $1 billion film.
It made no sense.
It made no sense. It's like, yes, I think it can make more than the previous one because the previous one was beloved, but it's not suddenly going to jump 3x. It's just not. So Predator, I think a Predator versus Alien coming out is going to make more. It's going to make more. But is it going to jump from like 40 million opening to 100 million opening? I don't know. Not yet. It can get there eventually, but no, not yet. So I'm going to call it an overreaction. Rob, what do you think?
I think it's an overreaction too. I don't think it's weird to make the leap to me that a Predator Badlands movie would lead right into an Alien versus Predator film, because the previous 2 Alien versus Predator movies are not exactly well regarded. I would much rather see a continuation of Predator Badlands than an Alien versus Predator movie. So, we shall see. Again, it depends on the story.
Who says a continuation of Predator Badlands wouldn't be an Alien versus Predator movie?
Could be.
Yeah,
definitely
maybe.
So.
All right, what's next?
All right, Rob. Is this an overreaction when we hear from Just Some Mexican with a Mustache? Universal owning Warner Brothers would be better for the industry than Paramount owning them.
I think that's an overreaction. I think that Universal and Comcast are a much bigger company that is much more. Paramount's still scrappy. They still have problems. You know, we have to see if they're going to turn Paramount around and turn it into something. I think that David Ellison buying Warner Brothers, they're going to try harder. I think they're going to do a lot more. Universal doesn't need the headache.
I'm going to say it's not an overreaction to think Universal would be better off buying Warner Brothers. And I'll tell you why. Some of you may be scratching your head saying, John, you've said you've got some real hope and optimism for Paramount. You've liked a lot of the moves they've made already. I do. But here's the thing. This is a brand new company, this Paramount, taken over by Skydance. And as of right now, all it is theoretical, and it's just potential. We haven't seen a single thing, and we won't for at least a year. We haven't seen a single thing that shows us that the Skydance takeover of Paramount alone is even going to work, let alone if they then now collectively take over Warner Brothers. It's all theoretical, and it's just speculative. Whereas with Universal, we know this is a generations old company that, I mean, hell, Christopher Nolan is just having a time of his life working with them over there. They're winning tons of Oscars, all that kind of stuff. They have far more experience doing this, a far more seasoned board of leadership. So listen, I still have a lot of belief in the future of Paramount. I absolutely do. But what's the better bet about who would better take over Warner Brothers and steward it? One has a track record, one does not. So I'm going to think, yeah, Universal would be the better bet. So I'm going to say that's not an overreaction.
All right.
Logistically, they're right across the street from each other.
And they're right across the street from each other. All right. What's next?
All right. We got, was it number 5? Did I start with Rob? No, we're going with John. This is our last one. John, is this an overreaction when we hear from Jinx the Looney Tune? Supergirl's going to defeat Mando and Grogu TV movie at the box office.
TV movie. I like that. That's not an overreaction. Now, it's not a lock, stock guarantee at all. Mandalorian and Grogu could surprise and maybe a little bit more. But listen, like, I don't believe Supergirl is an $800 million film. It's going to benefit from the success of Superman, but it's still Supergirl. It's not Superman, which is the bigger character. But I believe 500 million is in the ballpark for Supergirl, maybe even bigger. Whereas I actually think Mandalorian and Grogu, 500 million is the ceiling. I don't see Mandalorian and Grogu doing any better than that. I hope I'm wrong, and I could change my mind, obviously, once I see the movie. But I think the general target for Supergirl is 500 million, and the absolute ceiling for Mandalorian is... So, yeah, I don't think it's an exaggeration. I don't think you're out of your mind thinking that Supergirl will be bigger than Mandalorian and Grogu. Rob, what do you think?
I don't either. I don't think it's an overreaction at all. I think, especially after seeing Mandalorian and Grogu, it's always going to be thought of as a TV show. You know, that no one sits there and goes, yeah, that X-Files movie. They talk about the X-Files as a TV series, even though there's been 2 feature films. The less said about the second, the better. But people still think of X-Files as a TV series. They're always going to think about Mandalorian and Grogu as a TV series, no matter what. The movie can be... I just think the movie looks lackluster. You know, it just doesn't... It looked to me, it didn't have anything big in it. And when you see that big effect shot of seeing it on the big screen, I'm like, that needs work. But yeah, I don't think it's I think when the Supergirl trailer comes out, because they need it to be something that people go, wow. You know, I think look, I'm looking forward to Supergirl.
I think
so am I.
I think we're interested. I think the last time people got to see Superman under James Gunn, people had like a great time in theaters. And it's going huge on streaming. And you're telling audiences, general audiences, not just people in the ballpark.
Yeah.
That, hey, Dad, hey, Mom, remember you really love that Superman movie? This is the follow-up to it, under the James Gunn universe. People are going to come out to see this. I think it's going to be big.
Anyway, guys, that will wrap up today's session of Overreaction. Thank you so much to everybody who sent in their hot takes. Keep your guys' eyes open on the YouTube channel when we put out a call for those hot takes of yours, and maybe you'll see yours featured on the next round. All right, guys, listen, we still have a couple of big things to talk about, including Predator Badlands just shattered the opening weekend box office expectations they had due to positive reviews and word of mouth. We got to talk about that. And also, we can confirm for you that 100% take it to the bank. An Avengers Doomsday trailer is playing with Avatar, and they made over 30 versions of the trailer because it's so important they get it right. We're going to talk about that in a few. We're going to take a quick second and thank the sponsor of today's episode of the John Campea Show, our friends at Zapier. Guys, we want to take a second to thank the sponsor of today's video, Zapier. You know, one of the biggest game changers of the past year has been AI. But let's be real, just talking about AI doesn't actually make your day any more productive. What does make it more productive is finding tools to put AI to work for you. And that's where Zapier comes in. Zapier is the easiest way to take AI and plug it directly into the apps and processes that you're already using every day. No IT bottlenecks, no complexity, just results. For me, it's been about saving time on repetitive stuff so I can focus on the work that matters and I actually enjoy. And it's not just me. Over 3.4 million companies are already using Zapier to streamline everything from sales and marketing to IT and HR. With their AI orchestration platform, you can connect top AI models like ChatGPT or Claude right into the apps you already use. So whether it's automatically enriching leads, coaching your sales team, or even resolving IT tickets, Zapier makes it simple. Guys, join the 3.4 million companies already automating with Zapier and transform how you work with Zapier and AI. Get started for free by visiting zapier.com/Campea. That's zapier.com/Campea. And thank you to our friends at Zapier for sponsoring today's episode of the John Campea Show podcast. All right, guys. With that down, let's move on to this, shall we? Well, Predator Badlands opened this weekend, and around these parts, we loved it. I had such a blast with that movie, man. Again, I'm not saying it's going to be top 5 best pictures of the year. I'm not saying it deserves to be nominated for Best Picture of the Academy Awards. But holy hell, it was a lot of fun, and I had a great time. Is the word verklempt? Is that it? Anyway, we were all upset over the fact that it was tracking for like a $25 million opening weekend.
Yeah.
And I get it, like the history of the Predator franchise, whatever, despite the fact that it's had a bit of a resurgence with Prey, Predator Killers, the Alien franchise, all that kind of stuff. But 25 million. And Rob, I remember on our show, like you said, that you have hope that positive reviews and hopefully positive word of mouth will get that upwards. And I said, I cannot see it opening that low. I could not see it opening as low as 25 million. Well, it did quite a bit better, as it is being reported that Predator Badlands set a record for the franchise with the biggest opening weekend in the franchise history at a $40 million opening, significantly higher percentage-wise than the $25 million that it was pegged at, and made $80 million worldwide. Now, keep in mind, this movie needs to make roughly around $220 million to break even. It's off to a great start. To a great start. $40 million opening weekend, which again, so far exceeds, and 100%, Rob, 100%. This is absolutely based on the fact that as we go over and take a look at this, the critics loved it. The audiences loved it.
Look at that audience.
Critics gave it 85%. More importantly, in this case, a franchise record highest audience rating of any film in the Predator franchise, sitting at 95% audience scores. That word of mouth, the positive write-ups, the positive YouTube videos, the positive newspaper articles, the positive reviews, combined with the audiences loving it and having a great time with it, undoubtedly propelled this thing to a much bigger opening weekend than they originally forecasted. And I think it's going to snowball. I'm not saying the second weekend is going to be bigger than this one. Not at all. As a matter of fact, its second weekend is going to run into a bit of a problem with another very well-reviewed movie coming out called The Running Man that's kind of targeting the same kind of feel, same kind of demographic. That could hurt Badlands in the second weekend. But Rob, I think we are looking at, with all this positivity, I think we're looking at less than a 60% drop-off in its second weekend. I think this movie is going to become what I questioned, but I think now it is going to become a profitable movie. And by the way, I don't even think they absolutely need this movie to be profitable. I think they were looking at this as they were building something. It's going to take them a while to build it up to profitability. I think they may even surprise themselves that this one may itself become profitable. Anyway, Rob, this thing exceeded expectations, both for us in theater and at the box office. What do you think are some of the key main reasons why this thing did better than a lot of people thought it would?
Because it's a great, fun movie. It delivers. I've been talking about this movie for the last week. and arguing with people over it, and it's just the vitriol toward this movie. But most people love it because it's fun. You and I both said this when I walked out of my when I did my out of the theater review. I was surprised at how much I enjoyed this film, because it's just full of a bunch of things that I like, that I've liked my whole life, and there's nothing about this movie that I didn't find enjoyable. Like I said, by the time the title card comes on, I was like, bravo. It was the nearest thing I can equate it to, John, is Godzilla -1. Because I've been watching Godzilla movies my whole life. And for the most part, Godzilla movies, they're all over the place in terms of quality. But Godzilla -1, I sat down and I was like, this is kind of like the Godzilla movie I've wanted to see my whole life. Because it's everything about it was just A-list. And with this Predator film, it took the idea. I knew that it was a science fiction action adventure movie by design that was going to feel like it was made in the 80s. And that's exactly what I got. I was reminded of movies like The Last Starfighter. It was just fun. You get all this great stuff, and I'm watching this movie, and I'm thinking, I read Predator comics from Dark Horse. A lot of elements of that in there. A lot of classical storytelling about the young warrior that has to go prove himself to the clan, and picks up an unlikely motley group along the way and then at the end, basically the space Nazis and the Weyland-Yutani synths or whatever. I mean, there was nothing about this movie that did not delight me when I was watching it. And I felt like I was 13. and I was hooting and hollering, and I loved it. I loved it.
Yeah. And again, the word of mouth just started to spread about it, and the reactions to it, the positive reviews, all this kind of stuff is just great. And I really hope they're able to build on this moving forward. And here's the other thing. I think this is key. They need to move quickly. I don't mean quickly as in 4 months we have to have the next movie, but we can't wait 3 years for the next movie. They need to take advantage of this kind of momentum. The fact that we've gotten, when you think about it, in a relatively short period of time, we've gotten Alien Romulus, we've gotten Alien Earth, Prey, Predator Killer of Killers, and Predator Badlands in a rather short window in quick succession. And I think that's going to be key to them keeping the momentum up. So we need to see the next entry to this relatively soon, at least before mid-2027, I would say.
Yeah, and you know what I think is really interesting about, and you've seen kind of the shift, that Dan Trachtenberg went from Prey, he gave us Killer of Killers. People forget that the first Predator that everybody holds up as being sacrosanct or something, that's an Arnold Schwarzenegger movie.
It really is.
I mean, it was based on his persona, going from Conan the Barbarian in 82. By the time you get to Predator, it's basically a space slasher movie. It's not about the Predator, and the Predator loses. The Predator dies because it's an Arnold Schwarzenegger movie. And what I like about this is people have always talked about, well, I'd love to see a Klingon TV series or a Klingon. The fun thing about this movie is it like with Predator Killer of Killers, it's building, the Yautja is the main character, and you're taking this really interesting alien civilization and you're building it out. It's something I've wanted to see since the end of AVP Requiem, which I always talk about. And that's one of the things I really liked about it, is that you get to see the Predator culture, and I want to see more of this culture. I mean, if you had told me 5 years ago that they were going to make a movie about a Predator where he speaks in subtitles the entire movie, I would have said, well, that's really the only way you could do it, because if he was speaking English with that mouth, it would have been
It'd be really weird, yeah.
But I would have thought that they would never have allowed that, and they did. That movie opening with subtitles was audacious.
Yeah.
Not just one character, but they're all speaking. And then even when they had the moment where Elle Fanning's like, well...
remember, let's not give too much of the movie away.
Yeah, okay, well... There's a moment where I thought, is he going to start speaking English? And they didn't.
You know what I thought they were going to do in the movie? This is before seeing it. What I thought they were going to do in the movie, I thought they were going to pull a Hunt for Red October.
Yeah, that would, yes.
Yeah.
So, because for those who don't know, in Hunt for Red October, Sean Connery plays this Russian sub-captain, and they're all speaking Russian. Then at some point, he starts reading a Bible verse. And as he's saying the Bible verse, the language morphs from Russian into English in a way that we as the audience just understand. Oh, they're still speaking Russian to each other, but we're hearing English, so we don't have to read subtitles.
It's like the 13th Warrior.
Yeah. I kind of thought they were going to do the same thing in
Same
Predator
director, by the
Badlands.
way.
That like we
Oh,
understand
wow.
they're speaking the Predator, the Yautja language, but we're going to hear English, and they never did.
Nope.
They kept him speaking in his own language and kept subtitling.
I
it.
love
thought
that.
that was pretty cool.
I love that. I thought that was great.
Anyway, guys, question is for you. What do you think about this? Why do you think Predator Badlands exceeded the box office expectations that were set of around $25 million? Was it, as we suspect, the positive reviews and positive word of mouth from the audience? Do you think it might be something else? Is this a good sign for the franchise moving forward? Whatever you guys think, jump down into the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that down, let's move on to this, shall we? Well, reports first came out a couple of months ago. I remember we talked about it on this show, that it was looking like they were going to put out their first look at Avengers Doomsday with Avatar Fire and Ash. Now, last week, a couple of other websites said they've now heard that they're actually going to do it. And I can now tell you myself, not that this makes it any more official than the other websites, so take this for what it will. And remember, I'm not the studio, okay? So take this with a grain of salt. But I can tell you that I spoke to somebody over at Disney, and it's 100%. They are featuring some kind of teaser, some kind of trailer of Avengers Doomsday by, what is it, December 19th? Is that when Avatar Fire and Ash comes out? Anyway, about 5.5, 6 weeks away. We're going to get our first look at Avengers Doomsday in front of Avatar Fire and Ash. So I can tell you that for 100% for sure. But here's the funny thing. A couple days ago, I was talking to a friend of mine who is in those circles and said, it's not just the tweaking. They said, this trailer is so important. They said, John, you and Rob said that this was going to be the most important trailer maybe of all time. You have no idea how right you were, because this trailer is so important. They put, not just talking about minor tweaks, they put together like 20 something different versions of this trailer.
So Rob and I were talking about this morning.
Yeah.
So I reached out to someone I know over Marvel. Again, just to give you some context for me and industry insiders, I know a lot of people at a bunch of the different studios, some better than others. And I often send out emails saying, hey, can you confirm this? Can you do that? Like maybe 90% of the time, they just never write me back. Okay, so because like I'm a nobody. So these people do not write me back. Every once in a while, though, they do. Every once in a while, they do. Sometimes just to say fuck off. Sometimes to say I can't comment.
That was very Monty Python of you.
And sometimes to actually give me an answer. So I wrote to somebody over at Marvel Disney. And I said, hey, I kind of heard this. Any truth to that? And they simply said, no, not 20 or more. 30 or more. Woo. Now, understand this. We made a little documentary called Movie Trailers, A Love Story. And part of making that documentary, I had the outrageous pleasure of going and sitting down and talking with the heads of one of the most preeminent awards-laden trailer houses in the movie industry. And during our conversation with these people whose company it is to make the big all-time great trailers, they were talking to me about how they would have many back and forths. Like, here's our trailer. We take some notes. Okay, then we make some little adjustments. Okay, now here's the trailer. And that can go through many, many iterations. But that is different from what got communicated to me, that this is just like straight up wholesale, multiple trailer companies.
Yeah.
Not
it's a bake
one.
off.
20 to 30 versions of this trailer that would then, each one of those would have little minor corrections and tidbits and stuff like that. They are so aware over at Marvel about how much is riding on this. Now, again, let me give you some context on this, okay? Every trailer is important to a movie. Absolutely. But the thing that makes the trailer for Avengers Doomsday, what I think Rob agrees, contend is probably the most significant and maybe the most important movie trailer ever made, is that you are talking about the biggest movie franchise in film history, the MCU Marvel, which has never been in a more precarious position than it is right now. I think everybody can agree that however good or not good you think the MCU is right now, I think we can all agree that it's on more shaky ground than it's ever been. It's more hit and miss than it's ever been. You may still think it's really good. You may think it's not that good, but we all agree it's not as good as it used to be. And now we're heading in to their crown jewel, their Avengers franchise. And you're about to put out your first look at it. You never get a second chance to make a first impression. What was the James Cameron produced one? Alita Battle Angel.
Oh,
That one had a terrible first trailer. And even though the movie ended up being really good and future trailers were better, that movie never recovered from that first trailer that made everybody go, oh my God, what the hell is that? This is the most important trailer for a movie probably ever. They got so much writing on this. And Rob, this seems to confirm that they are keenly aware of that because they are pulling out all the stops. They are going to go so bonkers on the marketing of this movie. It is going to be analyzed, maybe overanalyzed, but they're going to make sure it is the absolute best thing they can put out. And by the way, don't expect them to reveal the whole store in this first trailer. They're going to have a year-long strategy. A year-long strategy. So what we're going to get is not the greatest trailer of all time. What we're going to get is a very strategic first piece. But it's so important. They've put a lot of time, money, resources into this. And apparently, Rob, like over 30 different versions of it. Anyway, you hear this, Rob. Does this track? Are we surprised to hear the numbers even that big? I don't know. What are you taking away from this?
Oh, I thought for sure that they would hire multiple trailer companies to make it. Usually, when they do that, it's called a bake-off, and they do that. They did that a lot with effects companies. They'd have a bake-off to see how effects companies would approach a certain situation. With this trailer, like we've talked about, they're also putting this trailer out a year in advance of the movie.
Which didn't used to be all that unusual,
No,
but it's absolutely unusual today.
So people are going to watch. It would not surprise me if this outdoes Deadpool and Wolverine's trailer numbers, because this is going to be looked at for so very long. I mean, my personal theory is at the end of this trailer, they're going to announce Doomsday Part 1 and Doomsday Part 2, and Doomsday Part 1 is going to come out next summer, and Doomsday Part 2 is coming, I don't know.
They're all 3 A's.
That's going to happen. But by the way, I don't know, and that's not going to happen. I'm speculating, wouldn't it be cool if? That's what Rob G would tell you. But this trailer is so important, and like we've said, because it's going to be scrutinized more than any other trailer. And people are going to make, John, a decision. This trailer, if you aren't excited, like, you can't get 60% of the audience excited. You can't get 70%. You need 95 or above % of people who watch this trailer to want to go see this movie. And they're putting out a year in advance. I mean, it's baller. They're putting it out there. They're hanging out. They're going to show us. I mean, they're not going to show us all the surprises or everything, but we will decide. And if the audience isn't convinced, especially your core audience, you're going to get think pieces written every day.
Yeah.
People say good. There's no publicity, but good publicity. No, all publicity is even bad publicity. Yeah. Not for this movie.
No,
because
not at all.
Because at first you can ride out the first week, but this will get hammered on for a year. And it's too bad because I love the Marvel Cinematic Universe so much. I mean, Infinity War and Endgame bring me such joy. And I personally, I want to love this trailer because I'll watch it 100 times. I want to love it, John. Please make me feel the love. Make me feel the love. As an aside, I was this past weekend years old when I found out that they have this unbelievable making of, it's a 2-part making of the Avatar movies on Disney Plus.
I didn't know that.
I didn't either. I turned on Disney Plus. You know why? Because
I think it's fairly new.
It's incredible.
Yeah.
And as somebody who made behind the scenes documentaries about movie making, this documentary is unbelievably well photographed. And if you wanted to know how they made this movie, I mean, I would have made it go more in depth, but oh my God, it's incredible. And the behind the scenes footage is the best ever shot for anything. I'm just saying as an aside. And I can't wait to see Avatar. So these two things combined together, they're not just putting out a trailer, they're putting out this trailer in front of Avatar.
Yeah.
And you know, my excitement for Avatar Fire and Ash is I don't care what the haters say. Come at me, bro. I can't wait to see this movie. I cannot wait. But this trailer is going to be part of that experience. And if this trailer is good, imagine what Disney has, what they have in the palm of their iron glove. If you deliver, and I get to see this, I'm going to go see this trailer. I don't want to watch it online. I want to see it in an IMAX theater. I want to sit there.
I suspect they're not going to. I suspect, no one's confirmed this. I suspect they're not going to drop this thing online, at least prior to when Avatar comes out. I think they're exclusively going to attach it to the Avatar film first.
It might not drop till the Monday after.
I'm just saying that I am over the moon about I'm walking into an IMAX screen. I'm going to the Irvine Spectrum. I'm seeing it in true IMAX, and I'm going to see this trailer, and I'm seeing Fire and Ash. And you know what? Their God will have a dominion in my head for another year if that trailer is good. Bring it. Show me the money.
Now, I'm going to have to temper this a little bit. Because, again, listen, other than hearing the number, I have no other information about this trailer. None. I suspect, and I could be wrong, and I hope I am, but I suspect this is not going to be a traditional 2-minute, 2.5-minute trailer. I think it could, maybe it's a 30-second thing. Remember, we do have a year to build up to this thing. Maybe it's 30 seconds. Maybe it's a minute. I have no idea. But whatever it is, it has to be the best one of those ever made. If it's a 30-second little tease, it's got to be like one of the greatest 30-second little teases we've ever seen. You know what I mean?
I am willing to bet. I think there's a bit of this. It's on one of the... Do you know what movie had the most important trailer of all time before this movie?
Which one's that?
Titanic. And they talk about this. There's a piece online you can watch. The first Titanic trailer was like 3.5 minutes long.
Because that movie was so over budget.
It was so over budget. It was a
such an
total
important
disaster.
film,
And they showed it at CinemaCon. It was Show West at the time. Mm-hmm. And they had made this, and they were freaking out. Everyone's like, you can't make a 3.5-minute trailer for a movie. And they're like, oh, yes, we can. And who was responsible for making sure that trailer got there, and who made sure it was 3.5 minutes long?
Is it
Jimmy
the Canadian guy? Is it
Jimmy
the Canadian guy?
Do you know who's consulting? Who's become? I mean, you talk about how Trachtenberg talked to Jimmy C about Badlands, and he wasn't totally enthusiastic, and then he came back and watched the final movie.
Right.
If you don't think Jimmy C is going to be the final arbiter of what trailer they're going to show in front of his movie, you're out of your mind. Because
here's the other thing about all that too, because some people say, oh no, they'll definitely drop it online before it drops with Avatar. Here's why you're wrong. By the way, I don't know this for a fact, but here's why I think you're wrong. Because not only are they going to leverage Avatar to put as many eyeballs on the Doomsday trailer as possible, I think you're a little bit crazy if you don't understand that they're going to leverage the promise of a Doomsday trailer to get even more people out to see Avatar on its opening weekend. I guarantee you, I'm not saying how big the number is. Rob, I 100% believe there are people who are going to go opening weekend to see Avatar Fire and Ash that maybe wouldn't have or might have waited a little bit longer. There are going to be some people that go to see this thing opening weekend exclusively because they want to be one of the first people to see this new Avatar, or this new Avengers Doomsday
100%
spot.
It's
meant to help Doomsday, and it's meant to help Avatar.
Not since the Phantom Menace is there going to be. I mean, the Titanic trailer was incredibly important when they showed it at Show West. It changed that trailer, that 3.5 minute trailer, changed the entire world's perception about Titanic. That's what this trailer has to do.
It actually,
but they've got harder. It's not just you have to make fanboys and people gushing like us. You got to convince us.
I think what we have to look at are going to be the opening day weekend, because traditionally Avatar is not open that strong.
No, Avatar's never, like Avatar 1 and 2
numbers,
do not actually open that big on opening weekend.
70 million and then 134. So with this opening ahead,
you're talking 150, 160, I think.
Yeah. And you know what? I bet the trailer will be converted into 3D too. and it'll be like the best because Avatar is going to be 3D.
Oh, probably.
And they'll probably make it the best 3D conversion of all time because they've made these Marvel movies have 3D versions of them. We just don't get them in the States.
Nobody cares about 3D.
Yeah, but they do in front of Avatar.
For
and
Avatar,
Yeah, in front of Avatar, that could be, you're right. That could be the one difference.
The Avatar movies are the best 3D that's ever been done.
It's the only 3D movie I see. I typically will see Avatar in like 2D and 3D, but it's the only one I see in 3D now.
And by the way, 5-6 weeks away, bruh.
It's so close, it's ridiculous. Like, I feel like I sometimes forget it was nearly 2 years ago that Robert Downey Jr. came out on stage. Well, I mean, a year and a half ago. That it still feels like it was like 4 or 5 months ago. It was like not this past Comic-Con. It was the one before that. It's actually been a really long time since Robert Downey Jr. came out on the stage and said, "New mask, same task." And but here we are. We're literally now just weeks away from getting our first real look at it. I mean, they've wrapped principal photography on. It's been done for a while, but it's kind of crazy. So what are we going to get? Guys, the question is for you. What do you think about this? I mean, it's confirmed. It's coming out with Avatar. They got multiple trailer production companies to make multiple versions of this thing to try to get the first one because they know how important this thing is. What are you expecting out of it? Do you think it's going to be like a 30-second mini tease, a full proper teaser that's like a minute 20, a full trailer that's like 2.5 minutes? What do you think they're going to show? What do you think they're not going to show? Remember, it is just step one in a year-long plan of marketing. But whatever you guys think we're going to get, jump down into the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that down, it's now time for us to jump in and start taking your live comments and questions. Once again, if you want to fire in a live comment or question, use the super chat feature in the chat area there. Again, you have to be watching the show live and able to submit it. I am going to turn off the super chats in about 2 minutes because we've got enough questions in there as it is. So if you do have a question, thought, comment, whatever, as long as we think it's appropriate to use in the show, go ahead and use the super chat feature to fire it in within the next minute or two because I will be turning it off. But before we get to your questions, of course, want to thank Robert Meyer Burnett for being here today. Great job as always, Rob. We'll talk to you tomorrow.
Thanks, Sean. And everybody should watch that Avatar making of on Disney Plus because you will be hyped.
Do you know the actual name of it?
You know what? I don't. All I know is that it's Bobby's Mordor orcs look really cool. .com. No, I mean, I think that, I don't know. It was the first thing that popped up. I went to watch Fantastic Four and it popped up on the screen. Yeah.
Is it Fire and Water, the making of Avatar films?
Yeah, yes. And there's 2 of them.
There we go.
And I mean, by the end of it, I was salivating to hear where there's the God has no dominion here. Can't wait.
All right. We'll talk to you tomorrow, Rob. Have a good one. All right, guys, let's get over to your live comments and questions you guys have been firing in, shall we? Jonathan, what we got up first?
Okay, Robert's up first and says, saw Badlands on Friday and loved it. Loved how they expanded the Yautja lore, introduced new awesome creatures like Alien Earth, and the seeds planted for a build-up to Alien v Predator.
Yeah, listen, again, going back 6 months or so ago, before the first trailer of Predator Badlands came out, where we clearly saw the Weyland-Yutani markings on the android's eye, I never thought they would be rebuilding up to an Alien versus Predator. Well, now I was clearly wrong. I mean, clearly they are absolutely doing that. Again, I couldn't have been happier with this movie for what it was. It was just a great, fun little action film, had such a good time with it. And they are clearly building up to that. And this was a good step towards that. All right, what's next?
Up next, we've got Tristan, first time writing in after watching for years.
Thank you, Tristan.
As someone who deals with depression and anxiety, movies are generally my escape from reality. There's a two-parter. I went ahead and got a ticket for Wicked in Orlando.
Oh, nice.
I know my anxiety will keep me from socializing, but thank you for bringing the community closer to home.
I'll tell you what, Tristan, I empathize. I am terribly awkward socially. I really am. But you know what I have found is at these movie meetups, the crowds that have been coming are so great and so friendly. And so many times, Ann and I stand back and watch people who just met each other for the first time, these groups of people hanging out and chatting while they wait to meet me and get some pictures, whatever. It's always been great. So listen, even if you just kind of stand by yourself in the corner and wait till it's all done, I hope you have a great time at it, and I'm looking forward to meeting you. All right, what's next?
We got Anthony, who says top spots to eat in Orlando Disney via Napoli, the Metro Pizza, Steakhouse 77, Storybook Dining, Beer Garden, and the Boathouse, and the Polite Pig.
Listen, in the days leading up to when I leave, I'm absolutely going to be asking people in Dallas, Austin, and Orlando, what are the best places to eat? Particularly in Dallas and Austin, I'm going to be asking you guys to tell me the best barbecue places to go to, because I'm a sucker for barbecue. When we get to Disney Springs. When we get to Disney Springs, I'll probably look for something other than barbecue, because I'm going to have a lot of barbecue in Texas. But I'll definitely be asking for some recommendations. Thank you. I'm going to keep my eyes open for those ones. All right, what's next?
All right, we got Cupcake Bliss. With
$70 super chat. Thank you, Cupcake.
Yeah, watched Lex Friedman, and he interviewed Dan Houser from Rockstars. If you were to start a fantasy football for VG movies for RDRD2, who would be your Dutch and Arthur? So Roadhouse, Dutch and Arthur. Mine would be Jeff Bridges is Dutch. Arthur, Josh Brolin, director Taylor Sheridan is probably what they means. Not Tyler Sheridan.
I have I have to confess, I have no idea what that question is actually asking.
Let's see. If you were to start a fantasy football,
I don't know what RDRD is. I don't know who Lex Friedman is, to be honest with you. At least off the top of my head, I don't know what Dutch and Arthur are. I have no idea what we're talking about.
Maybe someone in the we know Roadhouse too, but
yeah, guys, please never write in acronyms. I don't know how many times I have to ask. Please do not write in acronyms.
Especially if you're giving us this much support. It's Red Dead Redemption. I'm sorry. What does that
have to do with football?
Just like a fantasy football for video game movies. So for Red Dead Redemption 2, who would be your Dutch and Arthur?
Oh, okay.
So he would say Jeff Bridges for Dutch.
Jeff Bridges is great in almost everything, but I don't know that he's the right match for that.
I could see Josh Brolin as
Josh
Arthur,
Brolin.
as
That's a
character.
Closer one.
Yeah,
that's a closer one. I don't think Jeff Bridges is the right fit for that. To be honest with you, and I love Jeff Bridges. By the way, if you have not watched The Old Man, watch The Old Man. It's really good.
I would honestly, when I
Jonathan Lithgow's in that one too.
When I think of Dutch, I actually think of what's his name from The Walking Dead with the baseball bat, Negan.
Jeffrey Dean Morgan.
Jeffrey Dean Morgan, I could see as in that role.
By the way, Jeffrey Dean Morgan, one of the most underutilized performers in all of Hollywood right now. He should be in everything. I think that dude is so good. His stint on The Boys was so great. I love him in just about everything he does. You know, he was even in that Dwayne The Rock Johnson movie Rampage, and he was really good in that. He needs to be in more stuff. So yeah. Anyway, Cupcake, thank you so much for supporting us on that level and tipping in that much. It's very generous of you, man. I really appreciate it.
All right.
What's next?
AL, who says, John, when the Sonic movie got the redesign, you said it was a bad idea. Now that we're having a fourth movie, do you still think they should have done it?
I mean, I've talked about this about a dozen times already, but listen, did the new skin they put on it make it look better? It did. It really did. But do I think they should have done it? Probably not. Honestly, the movie, nothing about the movie changed. I really like that Sonic movie, by the way. I like it a lot. But I would have liked it just as much if they kept the original not as good design, because all the lines are the same, the dialogue's the same, the characters are the same, the action's the same. All they literally did was they went back into their 3D software, changed the skin, if you will, and then re-rendered it. That's it. They didn't have to do anything else. But I think maybe they could have made the change in between movies. Look, ultimately, it didn't take much for them to do it, so how bad could it have been, really? I still don't think they should have, but whatever. We ended up with a better-looking Sonic, but it really didn't change the movie at all in any way. All right, what's next?
We got Arturo, who says, John, I just finished the Harry Potter full cast edition. book one. I think he's talking about on Audible.
Yeah.
And to me, it was a good listen since it felt like there was a movie going on in my headphones and the cast was great. Thank you.
I'll tell you what, a really well-produced audiobook is an excellent experience. I particularly, you know who does a really good job with them, even though I think a lot of their novels are terrible? Star Wars stuff. They go full blown with their production in Star Wars with their Audible books.
You feel like you're on a capital ship with the background sounds.
They put in the sound effects, music scores to go with it, all that kind of stuff. You really feel like you're getting immersed in a movie. And with this one, it's not just one narrator doing different voices. They literally went out and got this whole cast to do it. I have not listened to it myself, but I'm probably going to start listening to it on this next leg of our drive for the movie meetups. I'm looking forward to it.
All right.
All right, what's next?
Soiner says, what's better, Sling Blade or the Green Mile? I'd probably go Green Mile.
I go Green Mile.
But that's no shade on Sling Blade.
Sling Blade's great. That's the movie that really made Billy Bob Thornton kind of a household name, I think.
Yeah.
By the way, his new show Landman is absolutely terrific. But yeah, as I really do like Sling Blade a lot. The ending is amazing. But I'll go Green Mile. There's a Hold My Hand, Boss. There with the great Michael Clark Duncan.
Oh man.
I'll give the edge to that one.
Yeah.
Good question though. All right, what's next?
Notorious says, love the show. Have you guys seen the THR Variety and Forbes article about Superman's success? Hope to see you in Austin.
You'll have to be more there have been many Hollywood Reporter.
I think he's talking about probably the budgetary issues, but I kind of call a little foul on the budgetary with Forbes with the Superman budget.
Well, here's the thing. It was like, this is the funny thing, because this is a great example of how everybody wants to look for something that gives them their, what's the word I'm looking for? When you're looking for something where something affirms your bias.
Right.
Hollywood Reporter, Variety, The Wrap, Entertainment Weekly had all put out these big reports showing how Superman was actually quite profitable, made a lot of money. I mean, not like Avengers kind of money, but it ended up being something that I didn't think it would be, which was profitable. So all these major trades put out this thing about how the movie's profitable. Then Forbes puts out, who I stopped reading, to be honest with you. Forbes put out this thing saying Superman lost money, and they actually put out their formula, which clearly was the wrong formula. And I talked about it on the show. It's like, that's not the formula you use to deduct for any movie about whether it was profitable or not. And despite so you had Forbes. So basically you had Forbes saying one thing. You had the Hollywood Reporter, Variety, The Wrap, all these others saying something completely different. But people who wanted to believe that Superman lost money instantly jumped all over the Forbes saying, see? It's like, well, why are you ignoring the proper reporting that came from all these other outlets? Because it didn't say what they wanted it to say. So yeah, there was a lot of articles talking about the success of Superman. And again, it made more money than I thought it ever would. When you consider all the obstacles that were in front of this one, that say my favorite Superman movie of all time, Man of Steel, did not face those same obstacles. It had a lot easier of a time. But anyway, it just, pre-assumption bias that a lot of people have. Anyway. All right, what's next?
We got Badlands Samurai says, I'm down for a Sinners 2 that focuses on some other haints instead of vampires. Michael B. Jordan could still cameo like he appears in all Coogler flicks. Well, his other version could, but I don't know.
Now, if they do Sinners 2, and I don't know that they are, but if they do, it's got to be about vampires. It's definitely got to be about vampires. It's got to follow up on that lore. It's got to stay to that lore. That's what I'd be going to see. And it's probably more, my guess would be if they do a Sinners 2, it'll probably follow that couple after the events of Sinners.
Yeah.
And before the events of the post-credit scene in Sinners.
Right.
And to see what were they up to for that 100 years or, 75 years, however long it was. All right. What's next?
All right. We got Hollow Lord. Hi, John. I heard The Thing 2 is in the works.
I don't know if that's true. I'm not saying it's not. I'm just saying I don't know that that's true. I mean, there's been whispers and talks about maybe people doing the Thing 2 for many, many years. I mean, listen, they did that one Mary Elizabeth Winstead one that people initially thought was a remake, but it wasn't. That didn't do so great. The re-release didn't do so great. I don't know why somebody would make a Thing 2 thinking it would do well. I'm not sure that it will, despite the fact that the first Thing is an all-time classic. But I mean, it very well could. I just haven't seen that myself. I don't know where that news is coming from. So it could be possible. I just can't say that it is. All right, what's next?
Richard McCart with a 20 Canadian dollar
thank you,
super
Richard.
chat.
Appreciate that, man.
Thank you. What a time to be a fan. We got DC going strong, and if you're not liking the MCU, softish reboot is coming. MCU, X-Men, less mistakes. Can't wait. Are you all as excited as me? But do you think the MCU can survive without Feige?
Sure. Absolutely. The MCU absolutely can survive without Feige if they put the right person in place after Feige.
Yeah.
It could also be a huge disappointment and a huge disaster post Feige. By the way, we don't know when Feige's going to leave. And also, by the way, no one anywhere, no official person anywhere has ever said that after Avengers Secret Wars that the MCU is soft rebooting. That's speculated by losers like me out there a lot, but nowhere. But it's becoming one of those things where everybody else says it so much that people just think that's what's officially happening, and it's not. It might. That could be what they're doing. We're speculating that it is, but no one, like Kevin Feige's never come out and said, yeah, after Secret Wars, we're rebooting the universe. And we just all got to keep that in mind a little bit. But it is a really good time. Listen, as somebody who was a fan of a lot of the DCEU, including, again, my all-time favorite Superman movie, Man of Steel, Wonder Woman, Aquaman, Batman versus Superman, both versions of Justice League, I have always wanted, I think most of us have always wanted an environment where we both had the DCEU or DC and Marvel both making top-tier product. Because despite the fact that I liked a lot of the DCU stuff, a lot of people didn't. Most people didn't. And so it was never a real competition. Marvel beat, listen, we'll just call it what it is. Marvel beat the living shit out of DC. It just did. Despite the fact that I loved a lot of it, even I have to admit, Marvel just beat the living crap out of DC. Mm-hmm. And what all of us have wanted was to have two really great franchises going at the same time.
Yeah.
The new DC's off to a good start. Marvel looks like it's heading back, is correcting the ship and getting back in the right direction. Here's hoping that by the end of 2026, when we've had Lanterns and Supergirl, and we've had a new Spider-Man movie and Avengers Doomsday, here's hoping by the end of 2026, we can all as movie fans go, this is awesome. We've got two great franchises running right now. That would be the dream. Yep. That would be awesome if we did. All right, what's next?
All right, this one's a bit spoilery for Killer of Killers, but it's been on TV for a long time. In Killer of Killers, are they time traveling? How else are the three humans all together in the third act? Also, Badlands was great. Saw it twice. I believe they're just in stasis.
Yeah, they reveal it in the film. They go back. Once a human defeats a predator, another predator goes back, captures that person, puts them in stasis, and then they're in stasis for however long. 100 years, 300 years, whatever. And then at some point they bring a couple of them out of stasis to battle each other.
Yeah.
So no, I don't believe there was any time traveling. They got them all locked up in there. Because the post-credit scene, again, I won't talk about what it is, it kind of doubles down on that. All right, what's next?
First off, we got some great support from the Batman $50 super sticker.
Thank you, the Batman. Appreciate that, man. Thank
really
you so
cool.
much. It's always nice when somebody just wants to be supportive.
And then we got a $20 follow-up from Blue Hulk. Seeing how Predator Badlands wasn't afraid of losing its audience by making the movie subtitled, do you think Jim Cameron decided for us to hear the Na'vi in English as opposed to, or why do you think he decided to use that instead of doing a native language?
Make no mistake that while the Predator is speaking in subtitle, the person who does most of the talking in the movie is speaking in English. That's why you had a character there to speak English the whole time. So I guarantee you What they were never going to do was have the whole movie of Predator Badland all spoken in the Utja language. It was never going to happen. They were able to keep him speaking his own language because we had an avatar, because we had Elle Fanning's character there who was doing a lot of the talking and was speaking in English for us. So yes, there are parts of the film we're reading subtitles, but a lot of the film we're not. It's an English speaking character. So with Avatar, I mean, you got to have Jake speaking English. That's just the thing. Now, I know there's going to be some cinematic purists. No, you should be up. Yeah, but that doesn't really work. Too much of the audience will stay away from a movie that is all subtitled. It's unfortunate. It sucks that people feel that way, but a lot of people feel that way.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's a big difference between the Avatar situation and the Badlands.
You're also comparing
difference.
an hour and 45-minute movie to a 3-hour plus movie.
All right, what's next?
We got Richard McCart is back. Says, do you think DC or Marvel will ever launch a hero in a movie? Like, first time ever seeing or hearing from this character. So I'm guessing like an original character. Who's more likely to do it? Also, I live in St. Thomas, Ontario. Ever been?
Yeah, that's the town that's got like a big Mennonite community, right? If it's the right town I'm thinking of, yeah, we used to go out there some weekends because the Mennonite community would sell. They have markets where they'd sell like their crafts, which like some of the most awesome stuff.
Yeah.
Anyway, here's the thing: both DC and Marvel have such huge catalogs of pre-existing characters that it's difficult for me to envision them doing like, I don't know, Man Bun Man. We're going to create this new character. We're going to call him Man Bun Man. And he has a secret, sacred Aztecian amulet or amber gem in his man bun that bestows upon him Superman bun-like powers, like the ability to order complicated drinks at Starbucks and other things like that.
This
I
guy
don't know.
is crazy. I hope they launch him.
Man Bun Man, ladies and gentlemen.
Launch him off a pier.
I mean, what you could do is you could introduce a new character in another character's movie. Like you could have an Iron Man movie. I'm just throwing names out here. And as a small side character in the movie, this new character arrives. And then later you make a bigger deal out of that character. Maybe you could, but again, there's such a long, big pantheonic list of characters on both DC. I don't really know if they have a need to do that. I don't know. Mm-hmm. Good question though. All right. Thanks again for supporting us on that level, man. And I love St. Thomas. All right, what's next?
Just a few more here. A Silva says, Halloween weekend, I saw Sinners in 70mm.
Nice.
Future and Dolby. I did that too. I really enjoyed it. And K-pop Demon Hunters this weekend. I saw Badlands and Dolby. Thank you, A-List. Exactly, man.
That's the thing about it. Look, as much as I well-deservedly crap on AMC a lot because they do a lot of stupid things, always got to give them credit for the most brilliant thing in the history of the cinema-going experience. They made A-List. It's simply the best thing in the world for film fans. 25, 26, 27 bucks a month I pay, and I get 16 movies for that. That's nuts. That's insane. Not to mention all the other perks and benefits you get from it. And it means that you can have a movie you're kind of on the fence about. But hey, I got my A-List, so I get to go watch it for free. A movie you've already seen. Well, I don't want to spend another $18 to see it. Don't have to. Got my A-List. I can just go see that movie again and enjoy it. It is one of the best things, and I'm glad you were able to take advantage of it so well.
Oh, man. If I had A-List back when I was, like, still single...
Oh, are you kidding me?
I'd be at the theaters 3 days a week.
Yeah. All right, what's next?
Summit. It's the name of one of my cats. Hi, John. Big fan from India. Been watching since Man of Steel days through college and job.
Oh, nice.
I still watch your videos every day. Thanks for all these years.
Oh, thank you so much for that, man. First of all, it's always great when somebody just wants to write in and say something encouraging. So thank you for that. I've always been stunned. Every time I look at our analytics, how many of our viewers are from India?
Mm-hmm.
It is like going all the way back to movie blog days. I couldn't believe how many people from India would watch our show. It's crazy. And I'm just so thankful for that audience that we have there. And, you know, that's the other thing I just love that always jumps out at me when we do these movie meetups. Number one, the fact that there's more than 2 or 3 people at them, that still shocks me. But like all the people come up and say they've been watching us for however many years, and it's so incredibly moving. And thank you so much for that. I really appreciate it. All right, what's next?
Richard says, if you had to choose between Doomsday or the new Avatar to be the last movie you ever watch, which do you choose? Avengers for me.
Oh, obviously Avengers. Yeah. Listen, I really like the Avatar films.
Mm-hmm.
I really like them. They're great. But I mean, we're talking about the Marvel. Yeah, 100%. It would be now. If you included a Star Wars in that, like a Steven Spielberg directed Star Wars movie, that might change my answer. But if you're actually asking between, an Avengers movie or an Avatar movie, it would be an Avengers movie for sure.
Hey, thank you to X-Men Superman for the 5 Campea gift memberships.
Oh, thank you for that, X-Men Superfan coming through again.
Yeah. All right, we got Christopher Brickner. It's surprising how good the effects of Battle Beyond the Stars are given the budget until you learn James Cameron did the special effects.
You know what? I'm about to say, did he actually do that? But I think I remember hearing that before. Battle Beyond the Stars. I mean, George Papard with his character's name was literally the character's name. Is Space Cowboy.
Yeah.
That's the character's name. It is such a schlocky movie that I confess gives me a lot of joy nonetheless. Now that you say it, I think maybe I heard that before. And by the way, the effects do not hold up. They absolutely do not hold up. But
I completely forgot Robert Vaughn was in that movie.
Yep.
Wow.
There's actually a lot of people in that movie. Even the main kid who's the one going out trying to collect the heroes up. Yeah. Basically, too, Rebel Moon is kind of basically a low-key ripoff of Battle Beyond the Stars. Anyway, yeah, definitely. Oh, I always love it when people bring up that movie. All right, what's next?
Okay, we got, let's see. Assistant to the Regional Sith. Assistant to the Regional Sith. Do you think different movies will get a different version of Avengers trailer to get molded? No, I think
no.
They're
gonna pick, and this is important. If they know one is their best one, that's the one they're gonna want everybody exposed to.
Yeah,
they're not gonna want to have 22% of their audience exposed to their third best one. This is so important. They want everybody exposed to what they absolutely decide. This is our premium best effort for a first teaser. This is it. This is the one we're going to put out. So that's what
I think some people are deriving and I'm not saying that Assistant to the Regional Sith is, but some people are deriving this is like a Clue type of thing where you're going to get certain ones that feature these people and certain ones that feature these people, and they have, you know what I mean? But that's not the case.
Yeah, they're also kind of suggesting okay, I went to see Avatar at AMC and I got this trailer. Now I'm going to go see Avatar again at a Regal because I'm going to get a different version of the trailer. Yeah. It's an interesting concept for sure, but again, this trailer is too important to Marvel. They are not going to want to expose their third, fourth, or fifth best version. They want everybody to see the same best version. So that's what I think they're going to do.
Yeah.
All right, what's next?
We got the Robo Producer says the AMC DeLorean popcorn car is $50. Rant away. I don't know that they have it.
I have no complaints. It's totally an optional thing. It's a luxury optional thing.
And people resell those things too.
Like if I want to see a movie, it's not an option that I got to buy the movie ticket. If I want to go see a movie in a theater the way they're supposed to be viewed, I can get a popcorn for $9. If I want popcorn, I don't have to drop $50 on something. It's a perfectly, I got it around here somewhere. I got one of my collectible popcorn buckets here, but I mean, they can charge $300 for it if they want. I don't really care because that's totally optional. If the movie theater made it, the only way you can get a popcorn today is if you buy our $50 bucket. Well, that's different. Then you would hear me moaning and complaining about it. But it's a completely optional thing. If you want it, okay, that's on you. but it's not a requirement for you to see the movie or have snacks or whatever like that. So it's fine. They can charge whatever they want for it, and I can just choose to get it or not. That's up to us.
Yeah, I was looking at that. James Cameron was the art director, and then also visual effects for Battle Beyond the Stars. He's the art
Crazy.
director.
All right, what do we got next?
This is our last one. Mumra. Should Nintendo make a Mike Tyson's Punch-Out film?
I don't think they have the rights to do it. They wouldn't have the rights to do it.
but
That's a Mike Tyson thing.
But they could do the follow. Once they lost rights, they re-release it as just Punch-Out.
Yeah, I mean, they could do, like, if they wanted to do Glass Joe.
That's the thing, like moving up the ranks or whatever.
If they wanted to do that and have it nothing to do with Mike Tyson, then they can. If they do, then that's not Nintendo's decision. That would be a Mike Tyson decision.
Yeah.
So there's that.
Yeah.
All right, do we have some of our member questions then?
Yes, but let me refresh because we got to make sure it's nice and fresh for everybody.
Freshness is important.
Yeah, freshness guaranteed at the John Campea Show. We got Matt says hello. Daft Punk for Tron Legacy versus 9 Inch Nails for Tron Ares.
I'm gonna go 9 Inch Nails for Tron Ares.
Really?
I really like the Daft Punk soundtrack on the last Tron movie, but I think the 9 Inch Nails one was even just a little bit. They're both great.
Yeah.
They're both good. There's no wrong answer, but I think I like the 9 Inch Nails one a little bit better.
I love them both again. I probably lean Daft Punk.
I think a lot of people would.
Dominic Suma, what is the quintessential Bare Naked Ladies song for you? 1 week if I had $1 million.
Oh, it's If I Had $1 Million.
Yeah.
That's the
It's
song.
been- Yeah, come on.
But 1 week is incredible. Hold me now and watch a hood wink. I make you stop think. You think you're looking at Aquaman. I summon fish to the dish, although like the Sally Swish, I like the sushi because it's never touched a frying pan. Hot like wasabi because I bust rhymes, just like the end rhymes because I'm, anyway. But $1 million, that's the song. That's the one that made them what they are. That's the one that propelled them to at least the Canadian pop culture consciousness at the time. It's it. I don't think there is a Bare Naked Ladies if it wasn't for If I Had $1 Million. And yeah, so 1 week is terrific, but listen, they just have so many. Oh my God. Have you ever heard This Is Me in Grade 9?
I don't think so.
This is me in grade 9, baby. Yeah, this is me in grade 9. This is me in grade 9. It's one of the best. It's one of their absolute best. They're just so great. One of the greatest bands of all time. I'll say it. One of the greatest bands of all time, the Bare Naked Ladies.
Joe Hallen says, hey, John and crew, hope your day is going great. Was wondering if you've heard anything about when we'll see a trailer for He-Man yet. Thanks, and bring on the filthy. Also, go Seahawks.
All right. I thought about making this a topic for today, but I will make it for tomorrow. I talked to somebody who has seen He-Man.
Like the movie?
Yep.
Whoa.
Who has seen it in its early stages. And they said it's amazing.
Wow.
And this isn't somebody who's got any dog in it. This isn't somebody who has anything to benefit from it. They said it's amazing. And they said they were totally shocked, completely surprised, but they said it's amazing. I think we might talk about that tomorrow on the show. I won't go into any more detail. I think we'll talk about more on the show. When we're going to see a trailer, I honestly have no idea. I have no idea. I normally don't even care when we're going to get a first trailer. Like if we didn't know that the Avengers trailer was coming with Avatar, I wouldn't care when it's coming. But now that we do know when it's coming, we get very excited about it. It's a commercial. So I don't really know when a He-Man trailer is coming. I don't really care when a He-Man trailer is coming. Once we find out when it's coming, then it'll pique my interest. So we'll find out. But again, I have heard the movie's really good. So I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. All right. What's next?
Okay, we got CPTP. Will we ever see a live action Robotech movie, or with all these streaming apps, a series? I don't know that there's a market for that anymore. It's like a huge market.
I think there could be a market for it. There could be. Like even people who don't know who Robotech is, you put out a great trailer for a Robotech movie.
Sure.
That could stimulate the general movie going audience very easily if it's done right. But man, I remember they've been talking about doing Robotech before I moved to LA. I remember doing stories on the movie blog that I think it was Tobey Maguire for a while. I remember doing articles on the movie blog like 17, 18 years ago of Tobey Maguire was on board to produce and possibly star in Robotech. It never happened. I don't know. I really don't know. I really don't know. It seems less and less likely. I think the optimal time to do it might have been 10 years ago, but it seems like it's becoming less and less of a possibility. But hey, hope always endures, so you never know. All right, one last one today. What's next?
All right, this is kind of a fun one. Amin, how would you rank these 2026 animated films based on box office potential? Super Mario Galaxy, Toy Story 5, or Minions 3? I think I got mine.
I'm going to say, in order, Toy Story 5, I think, has potential to make the most. Minions 3, second most potential. And yeah. And then the new Mario Brothers 1/3. I think they can all make a ton of money.
Yeah.
But I think Toy Story 5 has the most potential. Minions 3 the next. And
Super Mario.
The Super Mario Brothers 3rd.
Yeah. That was my ranking too.
And all right, guys, that'll do it for today's installment of the John Campea Show. Thank you so much for being here and making our little show part of your day. Big special thank you to all of you guys who sent in questions. Number one, because you gave us great fun things to talk about. But number two, you supported this channel as you did it, and all of us involved with the show. Thank you guys so very much for your support. Big thanks, of course, to Robert Meyer Burnett for being here. Our technical producer, Jonathan Voico.
See you guys later.
My name's John Campea, everybody. And until next time, my friends,